All right, Shalom. First, I'd like to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. Peace and blessings to the elect. All right, so basically, I just wanted to bring this information out. So, just wanted to bring this information out. Basically, we living in a world where there's a lot of madness going on. Okay, there's a lot of madness. There's a lot of, crazy, bugged out philosophies. Basically, Jake is waxing worse and worse. All right, and every single day you hear something new. But through the spirit, I just want to clear out some shit because you got a lot of our people. When I say our people, I mean you so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans. Okay, who have this crazy bugged out opinion that the Most High is okay with the state in which we're in. And when I say state in which we're in, it includes so many things, but today specifically we're talking about the topic of sodomy and homosexuality. Okay, because again, everything in America right now is run by these devils, okay, in the scriptures known as Esau, the wicked. Okay, and they have a very wicked vibration over the earth right now, which is primarily focused on you so-called blacks, Latinos, Native Americans, okay, which are known as the Israelites. All right, whether you want to believe it or not. Okay, now there's this article here which I'm going to get into real quick, and I hit it with a couple of precepts, if the spirit is willing. But basically it talks about how baby formula is linked to homosexuality. Okay, so we're going to break that down, because that all goes into why we have so many faggots these days, man. We have so many so-called homosexuals, as they say. Okay, and it's running rampant right now. All right, you have a lot of people who say, if you in this day and age, if you disagree with the concept of sodomy, you're looked at as ignorant or crazy. But we don't care about none of that stuff. Okay, so I'm gonna get quick into these things real quick. Try not to make this too long. Baby formula is linked to homosexuality, new study claims. Okay, it says, according to a new study by researchers, the babies given formula at birth for the first 1 to 2 years increases their chances of becoming homosexual. Okay, now this makes a lot of sense, simply because you have a lot of people who tell you that, they were born gay. Now this research right here is basically going to give you a little bit of an understanding as to why these people have this preconceived notion that they are born gay. You know what I mean? Because I believe at birth, I think the age where you can remember what happened, I think it was at the age of 3, either 2, I think it's 2.5 or 3 years old, is where you can. That's the first time you can actually remember your life. At a later age, you can remember all the way down to, I think, 3 years old or 2.5 years old. Not quite sure. I'll do some research and bring that out. But basically, you have a lot of people who say, "Oh, I was born gay." Okay, I was born gay. That's just me. All right. Little did you know that there's no such thing as being born gay. You're born a male or you're born a female. Okay, we have all these transgenderism going on. All this is all madness and confusion, man. But let's get into this thing real quick. It says, the chemical potassium hydroxide used as part of the ingredient to produce most baby formula brands is the main factor. Okay, potassium hydroxide is an inorganic compound with the formula KOH, commonly called caustic potash. This chemical compound is used to manufacture biodiesel fuel, soaps, and gasoline. So this is, they're literally putting a chemical that is used to produce biodiesel, okay, fuel, soaps, and gasoline. They're putting that in baby formulas, okay, which is also another wicked thing, because children are supposed to be breastfed. That is why the women have their mammary glands, otherwise known as their breasts. They get filled up with milk, when they get pregnant. So when the baby is born, they have a sufficient amount of food to eat. or in this case, to drink. Okay? And that's what they need until they can start eating real food or whatever it might be. All right? See, the Most High does everything on purpose, but you got Esau out here trying to switch everything around. That's why you're the devil, man. You got to go down. Anyway, scientists from the University of Cambridge studied 2,000 women in last 20 years. Okay, so it's a span of 2 decades. All right, so people who you can't come against this. This is a research that was done. You can't say, oh, what do you mean? These are not good sources. No, these are great sources. You're gonna listen. Okay, it says of the 2,000. 1,000 gave natural birth and the other half underwent surgical procedures to deliver, otherwise known as C-section. It says the woman who gave natural birth, 600 breastfed and the other 400 used formula, as were 400 women who delivered via cesarean section, otherwise known as C-section, breastfed, while the other 600 used formula. Okay, so this is what we call in statistics, it's called a controlled experiment. Okay, now this says the babies who were given formula were fed consistently for 1 to 2 years. Okay, so these are the babies who were given the formula, okay, which has the hydroxide, potassium hydroxide in it. Okay, it says babies who were breastfed also were fed consistently for 1 to 3 years without the introduction of formula or dairy products. Of the 1,000 natural births, 500 were male and 500 were female. Okay, so it's split down the middle, half-half, okay? It says the same went for those babies delivered via C-section. Now, babies who were breastfed had a tendency to develop faster motor skills, higher brain activity, displayed gender-specific behaviors generally considered acceptable, appropriate, or desirable for a person based on their actual or perceived sex by their teenage years. Okay? So let's bring that back. It says babies who were breastfed, that means you go the natural way, had a tendency to develop faster motor skills, higher brain activity, displayed gender-specific behaviors. Let's stop right there. Displayed gender-specific meaning that when they got to teenage years, they, as men or male, were interested in women. Okay? And the females were interested in males. Okay? These are gender-specific. Okay, gender-specific behaviors or attributes, okay, generally considered acceptable, right? Which means natural, okay. Appropriate. It says now. See, Esau thinks he's slick. It says generally considered acceptable, generally meaning the natural way. Just say natural, but he doesn't want to say natural because then these faggots are gonna be like, well, what do you mean being straight is natural? How about us? We gay, we natural too. You see what I'm saying? So they have to be all politically correct and shit. Just say natural. Being a faggot is not natural. It's abnormal. Okay? Point blank, period. Now, considered acceptable, appropriate, or desirable for a person based on their actual or perceived sex by their teenage years. Only about 6% of the babies who were breastfed grew into adults who were homosexual or lesbian. So 94% of those children who were breastfed came out straight. Everything was good. They were natural. And only 6%. Now, that 6%, chances are maybe, the parents who were breastfeeding their children, maybe they were taking some type of chemicals in the food that they eat. Because again, brothers always bring this out. The food that you eat, you have all these chemicals, these GMOs, and these chickens that we eat that's always fed with arsenic and all these crazy chemicals that would most definitely alter your DNA. Okay, it goes into all these things, man. And maybe that 6% came from the mother's food intake, the lack of nutrition or whatever it might be, and that's what caused them to be gay. Okay, so it could be that too. We're not saying that's what really happened, but chances are that's what happened. Okay. Only 6% of the babies who were fed blah blah. It says babies who were fed formula developed just as quickly. However, 38% of the formula fed babies had a slower development in motor skills and cognitive development. Out of the formula fed babies, 79% were more attracted to the same sex by their teenage years. 79%. Let's just round it up and make it 80%.